What's going on?
Korey.
Tyler.
How are you?
Good, how you guys been?
Pretty good.
Today I decided to get my buddies Alex and Tyler together. I guide with these guys all winter ice fishing. You know, we've never shared the boat together. I mean, I think it's gonna be a pretty fun day. I mean, there's never a dull moment with you, Alex.
Yeah, give each other a hard time. Good.
So I decided to hop in the truck, you know, meet these guys on one of their favorite Dakota slough lakes, and we're gonna see what happens today. You know, we got beautiful weather here. It's the end of August, beginning of September. So these fish should be biting as the water's starting to cool down. So why don't you join us today as we show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
The Dakotas are a very special place for game fish. The small slough lakes are relatively new, but very fertile. Most lakes have freshwater shrimp, which is a great forage for walleyes. But besides the freshwater shrimp, they don't have a ton of bait fish to eat. That means if you're in the Dakotas on a slough lake when the walleyes are putting on weight and you get a bait in front of them, they're very likely gonna eat.
Today we're out here on one of the Dakota slough lakes, and there's just an endless amount of them out here. But being so fertile, there's a lot of vegetation throughout all this, so it's a perfect recipe for all these fish, and especially these game fish. And that's one thing about the Dakotas is a lot of these sloughs don't have a lot of species in them. We have pike, we have walleyes, white bass, and maybe a bunch of perch. And so at the end of the day, there's a lot of game fish with not a lot of forage. And so what better time? It's end of August, beginning of September. The water temperatures are just starting to cool with these cool nights here. And so this is the perfect place to be when these fish want to put on the feed bag. You got them?
Yep, nice one.
Is it a walleye, you think?
I think it's a nice one.
Looks like it.
Oh,
Yep.
Big one.
You coming up here?
No, he's coming back here, I guess.
Well, now you're going back there.
He's kind of doing whatever he wants.
Get him, Korey.
Holy cow, that's a nice one.
It is a nice one.
Thing smoked it.
On the money
Holy,
badger.
this thing has some different colored, looks like an old one. Get a pliers.
Yeah.
Thanks. He wasn't getting off, that's for sure. Money badger?
Money badger.
Money badger and weeds?
Yep.
There we go, she's off. That's a nice one there.
That's a nice one.
I mean, these fish have a little bit different color than I'm used to in the Dakotas.
They are definitely golder in this in this lake for whatever reason.
These North Dakota slough lakes are so fun. I mean, we're casting around a bunch of weed lines here on this edge here. And then there's a road outside of us and there's trees. I mean, there's just so much structure for these fish in here. And clearly there's a lot of food in here by the looks of this fish.
Yeah, farm equipment. And
Whatever you guys left down there before all these sloughs flooded, right?
yep.
Let's get this one back.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine, Go Boldly, Schaefer's Specialized Lubricant, Putting Equipment First, Nitro Boats, Performance Fishing Boats, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley, your fish, our science. And Power Pole, Total Boat Control.
Next bite.
Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Whitewater, built to brave the waves. Forward-facing sonars dominating tournament fishing across the country, especially when it's being used to sharpshoot fish. Casting at individual walleyes is extremely effective, especially during a tournament. But this situation is a much better application for fishing with a group. keeping everyone in the strike zone all of the time.
So what we're doing here today is I'm up here running the trolling motor with forward-facing sonar. And what that really allows us to do is be able to just cruise along super fast to be able to cover a lot of water. And these fish, there's really not a lot of them everywhere. So, I mean, being able to cruise along and just be able to see the pockets of fish that are in the weeds and trees, once you see that, I can really slow down and I can actually pick these fish apart and tell Korey and Tyler where to cast up shallow into there. But that's also allowing me to look out a little bit deeper. I mean, it's fall, these fish are transitioning from deep to shallow, and where I can cast out deeper. What that really allows me to do is be able to just cover a lot of water, and really the more water that we actually cover is the more fish we should be able to catch. So,
Like right next to you?
Yep, yep. I don't know where he went. There he is. There you go. No way.
Need the net?
Yep, he's right here. He's actually pretty close.
Should I go up front?
No, you're good. There it is.
Walleye?
Oh yeah.
Good one.
Oh,
he's mad.
That thing was fat.
He just darted off and went right to you.
Ready, Tyler? Here it comes.
I'm ready.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at that thing.
Chunky one.
I think he wanted that one.
He did go after you, Korey.
That was a cool one. Alex was like coaching. It was like, oh, there's one right there, and you flicked over, and my line was literally like 5 feet away from you. And you like panicked, like, oh, and I'm like, what, did he go towards me? 2 pumps later on the swim bait.
Yep, smoked it.
It's so fun. I mean, it's, you know, using the combination, we have 3 guys in the boat, right? So like you're up there kind of directing traffic, right? Yep, there's a couple on that weed edge, there's one on that tree, and kind of telling us where to cast, right?
Hey, you're kicking my butt today. I've got a fish, and you guys are kicking butt in the back of the boat.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, you know, we're all kind of doing something different, and we're utilizing forward-facing sonar.
Exactly.
And we're back here fishing kind of blind with our coach. Alex.
Yeah, out fishing the coach.
All right, let's get this one back. Out here today, we're dealing with a bunch of different types of structure. You know, we have the rock part of the shorelines. We have a lot of weeds and shallow vegetation in the shallow water, and that transitions into the stumps and trees that are left over in a lot of these lakes. Alex is in the bow of the boat using forward-facing sonar to kind of pinpoint individual fish and pick those off, while Tyler and I are more in the back of the boat, kind of fan casting the edge of that transition of weeds that dumps into those trees. We're utilizing all the sonar that we have available, and side image being a very important part of that for our bow control. Alex is trying to keep us that half a cast, 3/4 of a cast or so off that weed edge, which is at 50 to say 80 to 100 feet. He's watching side imaging to know how far away from that edge we are, so that me and Tyler can kind of be efficient with our cast, where we're not casting just a little short cast. We're covering some ground with that. That side imaging is also telling Alex kind of where to look. The trees are out here, or there's no trees on this side of the boat. And it's helping him steer the boat side to side, keeping the boat placed where we need to, where all 3 of us can be efficient and use the technique that we're using. And so at the end of the day, not only mapping, our forward-facing sonar and side imaging are very important. We're using them all together to be the most efficient we can on the water.
Total Control, presented by PowerPole. 20 years of trust evolved from Total Boat Control.
Today's world is a little bit different in the world of jig fishing for walleyes than it used to be. Before you could get by with 1 rod. Now I use 2 rods. And when I say 2 rods, it's because of the different weights of the rods. The first rod that you want to concentrate on is your lightweight jigging rod, 1/16, 1/8, 1/4 ounce jigs. You're pitching them in the spring especially, and you get a lot of fish. This rod is a medium action rod. It's 6 foot 8 inches in length. It's a Johnny Morris signature series rod. But what makes this rod special is that it has an extra fast tip. So that means that the tip flexes pretty easily. Will work very good for all of your light jigging. The other rod that I have is also a 6/8 medium rod. But the difference is this rod is a little bit heavier weight. So you have to check it out when you're checking these rods out. The backbone on this rod is real stiff. It allows you to get the hooks into the fish very quickly. And it's made for baits like lipless crankbaits. You know, the Berkeley Jack's a great example. The Berkeley Finisher, which is a forward-facing style a bait. Heavier jigs with big tails, but they're big baits. So you need to have a little bit stiffer rod, but it just has a fast tip. So it's not as flexible on the tip. So these are the two rods that I take with me all the time now. In fact, I normally have a bunch of them rigged with various baits on when I'm summertime fishing especially.
The beautiful part about casting baits in the Dakotas is the ability to fish different types of lures in the same locations.
There we go.
Yeah.
Not a bad one.
Oh, thing absolutely crushed it. On Korey's candy.
Korey's candy.
Yeah.
That's a nice one. They're always fun on the crankbait.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
fun when they crush that thing, being able to just fan cast the shoreline.
Casting cranks and swim baits are a surefire way to catch walleyes in small sloughs, especially when you have the right colors.
So out here today, we've gone with a few different techniques, but one of them being soft plastics, and in particular here, a swim bait. The Champ Swimmer also does a few other things. Out here in these slough lakes, there's a lot of algae, the water's dirty, and a Champ Swimmer has a ton of action. It has a lot of roll, and it also has a very big tail that displaces a lot of water. So it just creates more drawing power. Now at the end of the day, I've gone with a 3/8 ounce head. That 3/8 ounce head, you know, basically is enough weight because these weed edges are in that 7 to 10 feet of water or so, but also there's a lot of drag with this tail, so you need enough weight to create the bait to fall fast enough to also trigger some bites. Now on the other end of the spectrum, Alex is in the front of the boat using forward-facing sonar, basically pinpointing individual fish and dropping it right on their head. He's gone with a lot more subtle presentation because of that. This is the new Drip Minnow or the Drip Swimmer with a small paddle tail on the back of it. Now he's gone with a lighter head. This is a 1/4 ounce side just because he wants it to be more fluid when he drops right on top of them. Obviously a way more finesse-like presentation. And so at the end of the day, we're using a combination of both of these depending on where our casts are being made.
All right, well, keep going down the shoreline.
No, how about we actually make a few more casts here?
Fine, okay.
We just caught one. Like that weed tip has got to be about right here,
Yeah,
because we felt like we about got to it when I had that other bite.
Yeah, there's definitely a few fish sitting right on the tip of it.
How deep is it?
14.
There's one.
Oh, no way.
Oh yeah, this is another good one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you got time, Tyler. Oh. Yeah, this ain't a pike.
I'll stay back here.
I guess we should have stayed here.
Yeah,
we did.
Come on. Here he
Stand
is.
down. It's a walleye.
Oh, Tyler! You scared me.
Extreme net net.
That was a risky one.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, he's angry.
Got him?
I got him.
But I suppose they have a lot of shrimp out here too.
Yep.
You know, I'm not sure if, well, I mean, this fish is pretty young. I mean, he's got a small mouth compared to how big his body is.
He's definitely been eaten.
But it was back-to-back casts.
It was.
It was pretty funny. It's like, Alex is like, all right, let's just keep going. I'm like, how about we just stay anchored right here and let's make a few more casts in the next cast.
Next cast, yeah. What are you using?
The old swim bait, and let's face it, it's hard to beat perch out here ever. So the old Champ Swimmer 3.8 perch color fire perch. So
That'll work for these walleyes.
let's get her back.
Very
Nice thick fish there. Now on the other side of things, Tyler's been utilizing a crankbait, and in particularly a money badger. And one thing about a money badger is it does a great job of deflecting and not getting snagged. We're fishing around a lot of trees and a lot of timber, and don't get me wrong, a lot of times when you go through those trees or pop off of a tree is when you get your bite. So you want a bait when you cast up to that weed edge that gets down there, because majority of these fish are on the base of those weeds, and so they're down that 7 to maybe 10 feet or so. So you want a crankbait that's going to achieve its depth very fast and get to those fish or get close enough to those fish fish where they can come up for it. And we've been utilizing 2 different sizes. Now, a number 5 size seems to do a little bit better if it's more of a flatter area where you have those weeds that kind of taper out in that 7-8 feet of water or so, where they might be a foot or 2 tall still out there. Or the 6.25, especially around that timber with those really sharp weed edges. And so utilizing these 2 sizes, but especially the money badger, just helps us fish more efficiently and keep our baits where they need to be more often.
He's right here, Tyler.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
There,
Got him?
there we go.
There we go.
That's a nice one.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that.
That thing smoked it, absolutely inhaled that. Ate it instantly, as soon as it was in front of his face.
Yeah, Korey, he actually needed a break. It was just us 2 up here. First cast, we finally...
Get him in the back of the boat, we can actually start catching some.
That thing has some cool colors
Look
on
at the
it.
colors of that fish. I mean, just got some cool black lines.
Healthy fish.
Heck yeah, man.
Should we put him back?
Yeah, I should probably let him go here.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Schaefer's Specialized Lubricant. Putting equipment first. Nitro Boats. Performance Fishing Boats. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. Lowrance. The ultimate fishing system. And Power Pole. Total boat control. Hot topics, leading information and tackling techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
So for the past many years, no matter what equipment that I'm using, I've trusted Schaefer oils. And I mean, they basically offer a lubricant or a product that helps almost any type of equipment that you have. When I just look at a couple of them here, this is a diesel treat. It's something that treats diesel in the winter. This is simply the Synthetic Plus oil for my diesel pickup truck that I pull my boat with throughout the summer. This is something I carry with my diesel pickup truck in the winter in case I have any gelling issues. You look at just an engine oil, fully synthetic. This is actually for my wife's vehicle. Yes, we put Schaefer oil in that too. When it comes to the marine side of things, and the extreme marine products are something that's relatively new with Schaefer, but this is the product that I actually use for my Mercury Verado V10. But the product that I want to talk a little bit more about is this extreme marine gas additive. And it's something that isn't necessarily just strictly for marine. Whether it's a UTV that I have, whether it's a snowmobile that I have, just being able to add a little bit of this to each tank of gas is going to give you an added protection in all of those engine components to make sure that everything's running great. This entire bottle here will treat up to 50 gallons. So you don't have to dump all of it in most tanks, but this thing will treat the gas, make sure everything's running great. So check it out. It's a gas additive, very simple to use. You don't have to use a lot with a lot of the different equipment, but extreme marine gas additive from Schaefer, something that stays in all of my equipment, whether it's my UTV, my truck, or my boat all year long.
Using multiple different types of baits combined with covering as much water as possible with side scan and active target has proven to be the perfect combination for big walleyes on small sloughs in the Dakotas. With Alex in the bow calling the shots with forward-facing sonar, while Tyler and Korey follow him up with both champ swimmers and money badgers, they're able to pinpoint where groups of walleyes are laying on structure and catch as many big fish as possible.
Going up here.
It's pretty dead.
Pretty dead. Got one.
No way.
I think this is a big walleye.
Really?
It's a big walleye.
Here we go. Oh,
It's a nice one. It's a nice one.
Oh, it's a really nice one. Here we go.
There. Get him.
There we go. There we go, Tyler. Look at that. That's a chunker.
That is nice.
Look how fat that thing is. Tyler, it's your first cast of the new color there.
Is that thing pre-spawn?
I don't know. He's a fat one.
That is a nice fish there, just super thick.
Yeah, actually, my last cast, I was in a tree. I had to retie.
Of course, like always.
And I thought that color looked good. And first cast, here we go.
It came in, I mean, that thing is so fat. I mean,
It looks like we're fishing springtime walleyes.
Yeah, no
because that
kidding.
thing looks pre-spawn almost.
yeah, it's just like we're up in shallow weeds and it's just opposite. And
It's one of the funnest bites is casting crankbaits or swim baits and just feeling that,
yeah,
especially when these fish want to eat. But man, it's been fun.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had a good time in the
We've had
water
a good
today.
day.
There's never a dull moment with either of you two, but especially when you put you two together. But when we're catching fish like this, it doesn't matter, it's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's get this fish back. It's been awesome.
Thank you. There he goes.
I knew you were gonna do that. I popped that thing like one time.
Yeah.
It was like I let it fall about maybe halfway to the bottom, I figured. And then I gave it one hop and all of a sudden, bam! Hits and it just did the slow rolling head shake and I'm like, this has got to be a walleye, not a pike.
we're over pike.
Yeah, we've had our share of pike bites, obviously. I mean,
Oh, Jesus.
it's gonna cut me off.
You know right away it was heavy.
Yeah?
Do you want to just net it or? Biggest pike you've ever caught, Corey?
No. Little flipper, Alex.
We are doing better than that here.
Dude, that's good.
Wrong flavor.
Wrong time.
Wrong flavor. Crunch.
Little slimy devil.